The dead have highways. They run unerring lines of ghost trains, of dream carriages, across the wasteland behind our lives, bearing an endless traffic of departed souls. Their thrum and throb can be heard in the broken places of the world, through cracks made by acts of cruelty, violence, and depravity. Their freight, the wandering dead, can be glimpsed when the heart is close to bursting, and sights that should be hidden come plainly to view. They have signposts, these highways, and bridges, and laybys. They have turnpikes and intersections. Is at these intersections where the crowds of dead mingle and cross that this forbidden highway is most likely to spill into our world. The traffic is heavy at the crossroads, and the voices of the dead are at their most shrill. Here, the barriers that separate one reality from the next are worn thin with the passage of innumerable feet.
Hello and welcome to the One About Podcast, show where two friends get together to talk about a different topic each week. This week, SPOOKtober returns. John, I know you love SPOOKtober, so we had to bring it back. And we're kicking it off with a fucking banger, bro. This is the one about the return of the living dead. I'm your host, Ian. I also go by the list in places around the internet. And I'm joined this week, as always, by my man, John. John, what has been going on this week, my guy?
For me, compiling a list of animes that I want to watch.
Typical.
Since I've basically plowed through everything, and I'm basically on the wait a week till stuff comes out for everything that's running right now. Speaking of which, the newest season of American Horror Story.
Oh, yeah, I gotta watch that.
Probably the best one yet.
What's your favorite one before now?
My favorite one before now... Dang, now I have to think. It's between The Hotel...
Okay.
and Murder House.
Wow, Murder House. Okay.
Why are you saying wow? Yeah, I mean it's the first one, but like, it's what got me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Hotel is a lot like Murder House, and like,
yeah, there's
a lot of stuff going on, trying to figure it all out, which I love, and like putting all the pieces together, and like finally getting that aha. So, and then also, what makes Hotel a lot better is I think it's either the first or the second season that confirms that the stories are interconnected.
Well, it couldn't be the first one because...
No, I'm talking about the first season to show that they're interconnected.
Oh, Hotel was the first.
I think it's either first or the second.
I mean...
No, actually, the first one was The Asylum, I think it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, ever since season 2... They've been fucking around with that. Like, Hotel might be the first season where they explicitly say so, but they've definitely been fucking with that the whole time. So
I mean, there's been allusions here and there, but I'm pretty sure. Why does it go from season 1 to season 4? That doesn't even make sense.
What?
I typed in American Horror Story. Let me see. Maybe I typed in the wrong one. seasons.
Seasons.
So I typed in
Seasons.
American Horror Story seasons in Google,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes season 1, season 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So, if you're looking for the different seasons, there's
Murder House,
Mm,
Asylum,
mm,
Coven,
yep.
Freak Show,
Freak Show,
Hotel, Roanoke, Cult, Apocalypse, 1984,
and then whatever the new one's called.
double feature, which
That
I
sounds
like.
right.
That's
think that's
pretty.
right.
It's pretty dope.
I will tell you that my favorite season is easily Asylum, like by a long shot.
I can understand that.
It's funny too because like I started watching American Horror Story when season 3 was just coming out, Coven,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was telling me that like Asylum's not that good, don't like get discouraged or whatever. Coven's amazing. Coven is by far and away my least favorite season.
Yeah, I mean the only reason I like Coven, like its saving grace was the fact that that was the first time that they cast Angela Bassett, and she killed it in that one. I loved her character in that one. But honestly, Coven's not that great. It's really not. It's
Yeah,
okay. But Murder House was the one that different. I really did like Asylum.
Yeah.
Especially like since they keep casting it's Jessica something.
Lange.
Yeah, she is an amazing actress.
Yeah. I mean, like, Coven... My problem with Coven is mostly that all the characters are just, like, intensely unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nobody in that entire season that I'm like, okay, well, like, you're kind of a bitch, but I'm still into... No, not even that. Like,
There's
they're just all garbage.
Jessica Lange's daughter.
Nah, fuck that bitch.
Sarah Paulson?
Nah, fuck that bitch.
Really?
Every single character in that season is terrible.
I mean, I would agree with you on everyone except for Sarah Paulson's.
Nah, fuck that bitch.
Okay, cool. I will say this current season might definitely be like my favorite season thus far.
I've watched every season on Netflix. I just kind of wait for it to finish and then come to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
But I can watch it right now on Hulu, so I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just do that this time.
Nah, dude, Hulu's player is just whatever platform that Hulu's on is just straight dog shit, and they need to rebuild that from the ground up.
I mean,
There's
you're right.
So many things wrong with Hulu. I'm not even talking about the layout, just the way that it actually functions is a problem.
Yep. Yes.
That's the major thing. Like the layout, like I can kind of get over if it has decent enough content and like it plays well when I'm actually watching stuff. I don't even get that.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad.
Yep. And the fact like they've done an overhaul, I believe twice, and they still don't have a skip intro button. And their next play is still lacking. Like the fact like they can't nail those two things. Honestly, if they nail those two things and make sure that when you're playing from a point that you left off at, that's fixed, Hulu would be fine.
I mean, in fairness, at least unlike some other platforms, they have an automatic play next feature.
Mm-hmm.
My only problem with it is that sometimes it just plays random ass episodes. Which, to be fair, is a pretty big fucking problem. But otherwise,
no. My problem with Hulu's like next play is the fact that it runs all the credits. And I was like, I don't want to watch all the credits. No, it runs all the credits, and then it's like, okay, now we're going to the next episode. It's like, it's not what I want.
I don't remember what I watched last, but it definitely did not do that. Like, believe me, I would tell you if that were the case. Like, I would notice, and I'd be real mad.
For American Horror Story, it definitely plays all of the credits, and I know for a couple others that I did watch, it ran all the credits.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what I was watching, Yu-Gi-Oh! It definitely does not do that. So, I mean, that's another problem. If it's inconsistent from show to show, that's also a problem.
Right?
But,
That just
And I mean,
seems
that's kind of the story of
flawed.
Hulu's platform.
You're right.
Like, they're
It's just
inconsistent.
inherently flawed.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, oh snap! I need to send you this article when I was like reading up on Hulu on why it would like restart from the very first episode when you're like 5 episodes into a season on a show, and like basically in a nutshell, it said like the platform's dog shit, like in the article, but we found ways to try and fix it. You have to clear the cache data, and I was like,
dude, if I have to fix your platform for you,
it's
well, you
bad.
gotta be fucking kidding me.
It's bad.
Anyway, I got Metroid Dread.
I heard.
Well, I hear that you're still obsessing over Age of Calamity.
I mean, it's got the fact that you can like create your own perfect weapon for your own playstyle, and like what's the highest base damage, how to farm. Like grind games, farming games are kind of my shit. It's my crack, and it's fun. I'm almost done with the DLC that I bought a day ago, 2 days ago, 2 days ago. But it's fun. I will say the DLC is really great, and the fact that I'm playing it on normal, it just makes me shudder to think like if I started playing it on like apocalyptic.
Yeah.
But after I farm some pretty cool best in slot items, I might start doing that just for fun, for kicksies.
So is the DLC worth it?
Yes, the DLC is totally worth it. In my opinion,
How much is the DLC? $20?
$20. You should buy the DLC while you're playing through the first playthrough, because if I'm thinking about it correctly, if you play through the story mode and then play through while the DLC is active, you can unlock to where your weapons will have higher base damage. Like you'll have a chance to get higher base damage than the original playthrough without the DLC. And then also you'll improve the quality of the weapons that you get along the way, depending on how it works. I'm pretty sure you might be able to.
All right, so let me look at this with you for a second. Wave 1 of the expansion pass, because just like Breath of the Wild, you have to buy them together. You can't just buy one or the other, so whatever.
That's
okay. Wave 1, Pulse of the Ancients. The Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion packs kicks off with newly added weapon types and challenging enemies, new playable characters, battle-tested Guardian. I'm sorry, what? You can play as a Guardian?
Yeah.
New weapon types, flail for Link. Bro, that's not a flail. That's the leg of a Guardian. What?
No, it's connected by a chain, so.
That's a pretty dubious chain, but okay, sure.
Dubious chain?
Dude, that'd be a great fucking trap card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I activate dubious chain. Be some shit Joey would have. Try out the new added weapon types, the flail for Link and Master Cycle for Zelda. That seems like they should be reversed, but okay. These new combat stuff. Hold it. What the fuck? Does Zelda just drive around and run motherfuckers over? How is that a weapon?
She definitely does.
Okay, that sounds pretty dope. New location, Royal Ancient Tech Lab. Okay, Wave 2, Guardian of Remembrance. The second wave of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass content includes new playable characters, additional stages, and an emotional new story sequence. So just like Breath of the Wild, you have to get the second pass before you get a new story. That's interesting.
Yeah.
New playable characters in Pura and Robbie. I don't know who was asking for them to be playable characters, but all right. Plus one more. What do you mean plus one more? Who else? What the fuck kind of comment is that? And they're along with another playable character. Do you know who the other playable character is?
Coming up?
Like, I don't know. Is it available? I can't tell you from reading this. Available October 29th, so I guess it's not out yet.
Yeah, it's not out, but I know who the next two playable characters are going to be.
Well, I mean, it says these two, but it says there's a third one that just says another playable character.
Oh no, I don't know that one.
The fuck kind of shit is it? God damn it, Nintendo. New story, Battle for Kakariko Village, Battle of Gapanga Village, and more. New stages in the Coliseum, Lanayru Road, and more. And more added features. Yeah, it sounds pretty worth it. All right. After Metroid Dread, maybe I'll jump back into that and get the DLC.
Definitely should get the DLC.
So, have you ever played Metroid before?
No. 1 second.
My man's just left. He's out of here. Told me to hold on a second, and he just fucking dipped. Oh, he's coming back. Okay. I guess he went and got something. Let's find out what it was.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Plugging in a mouse?
My mouse died. All right. Cool.
Okay.
And it's not batteries. It's like you have to charge it. So
No, I think I have the same mouse. I get it.
Yeah. Back to me never playing Metroid. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing about Metroid. Pretty much everybody agrees that Metroid 3 is the best Metroid, Super Metroid on Super Nintendo.
Okay.
If there's somebody who says there's a better Metroid game, their choice is probably Metroid Prime. One of those two games is more than likely going to be Metroid fans' favorite Metroid.
Okay.
With that said, as you know, my favorite Zelda game is A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of the Super Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
and that definitely did not change with Metroid. Super Metroid is by far and away my favorite.
Okay.
Now, Metroid started out on NES, had a Game Boy game for a sequel, then had a Super Nintendo game, then had a Game Boy Advance game, and those are the 4 core games.
Okay.
They also remade the first game on Game Boy Advance, and they remade the second game on 3DS. Now, that's where they fucked up.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion, there's a lot of people that really like the remake on 3DS. I think they missed the forest for the trees. And specifically, I think the problem with that game is they introduced this move where you can counter the attacks of your enemies and like blast them into oblivion right away, basically.
Okay.
But you use this for fucking everything. Like the whole game revolves around this mechanic, basically. And to me, like, it didn't feel very Metroid. It felt like they were trying to modernize a game that didn't really need to be modernized.
Yeah, like
in a way that just doesn't.
Just update the graphics and like the controls. Like you don't need to add anything like that.
Sure, and I mean, like, I'm not against adding mechanics, but like that was just. I can't really sit here. I'm not a game critic. I can't really sit here and tell you why I don't like it all that much.
Mm-hmm.
What I can tell you is that I feel like the game pushes you hard to use it all the time for basically every enemy that you encounter.
Yeah.
And what that resulted in for me when I played it was a lot of standing around waiting for the enemy to do something so I could push the counter button, shoot them in the face, and move on.
So it wasn't really like dynamic or intense. It's just kind of a slog-ish.
Yeah, because if you don't time it right, then it's basically a useless move. You can't really use it in an active way.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just kind of like made it for this playstyle that I don't enjoy. A lot of people love it, like I said. So I honestly, I don't even think I'm in the majority. I think I'm in the minority on this take. But nevertheless, that's how it made me feel. So when I heard that they're making a new Metroid game, the first in the core series in like 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited. And then I found out the team that made the 3DS remake of Metroid 2 was the team that's making this new one. And I was very concerned because my first instinct, especially after watching the gameplay trailer for it, was that this is going to be another fucking version of that 3DS game. And I'm not going to like it because it's going to do the same bullshit.
Right.
Well, I'm happy to tell you, John, that not only is it not that, it's much worse.
Okay.
It's much worse. And that was all sarcasm. I'm very unhappy to tell you that. But I'm also very early in the game, so my opinions might change.
Okay.
Right
I'm hoping.
now, my problems with that counter move still exist. I still feel like the game is pushing me to use it constantly, lest I just get fucking destroyed everywhere I go, which
Mhm.
forces me to stand there, wait for them to do the little shiny things so I can counter them, shoot them, and move on, so on and so forth. But now also I have, dude, like I don't know, 3.5, maybe 4 hours into the game. I
Mhm.
have my blaster, I have a charge shot, I have a jumping move. Once I charge up my blaster, I have missiles, I have an active cloak, I have a counter. I'm like, I forget to use half of these moves all the time. I can't even remember what I have, and I just started. I'm like, this is too much. You guys
Just
are
piling it on.
really, yeah, dude. And like, I know that there's a number of enhancements I haven't found yet. Some of them are like notable enhancements that are just the core of what Metroid are that I haven't found yet, like the morph ball.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, dude, how complicated is this game gonna get? This isn't what I want. But I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe my feelings will change. Maybe the story will be good enough that I won't care. Um, as long as they don't fuck it up as badly as they did that remake on 3DS, I'll be happy, I think.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo cares about their IP, regardless of what some people think. They definitely do, and they handle their core games with care for the most part. So I'm hoping that I'll really love it. Like, as a Metroid fan, I really want to love it. So I'm giving it uh, as much of a fair chance as I possibly can. We'll
Trying to
see.
give it a fair shake. Yeah.
Oh, more than I gave it a fair shake and it failed. I'm giving it like 6 or 7 shakes. I'm playing with myself now.
Oh Jesus, you're playing with it. Oh my god, man! I will say this: I'm liking Age of Calamity a lot more than I thought I would.
You're liking it a lot more than I thought you would.
Well, it's not even like the gameplay itself. The gameplay's fun, and like I can play with my wife because like at the point now we're playing it. It's basically hack and slash, like run around and just beat shit up.
Yeah.
Bodies flying everywhere. Fucking love it. And like, but there's complexity to it. Like, what seals do you want to put together? Like, which weapon are you searching for? Um, what like play style are you trying to do? Like, Link is probably the most versatile character that you can play in so many different ways. And then like there's favorites that pop up depending on like the moves that they have and like things that you unlock with their combos, and it's just a really fun and immersive game. Even though it's just basically at this point in time hack and slash farm, it's still pretty fun. And then like I'm excited to see what they're going to add in the new DLC, because the addition of the first wave of the DLC with the vicious monsters, the first vicious monster I took on took me 20 minutes to kill. And like Link was maxed out level. I had like one of the better weapons, and like it literally took 20 minutes to kill, just like slivers of health every time I hit it. It was pretty nuts. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I have to do this constantly from now on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bet. That sounds like fun actually. So it's a blast. And then like I just linked you the in-depth, like someone who's
Oh, yeah.
way more astute than I am has a spreadsheet on like all the seals, like, oh, this seal actually has a damage cap, and like which seals are the best. Like this dude went into excruciating detail. Um and like pulled from many different sources, and I was like, this is the kind of shit that I like. This gives me feels of back in the day playing like Capcom versus SNK2, Marvel versus Capcom, where you went to game frequently asked questions.com, and
Yep.
like you just look at those like just typed out pages and pages of just astute notes about combos, and like airtime is like, oh, you want to hit this, and like you have to hit it within this amount of seconds. Like that's what this is giving me feels of, and I love it. I'm just loving it.
You know what I love, John?
What?
This fucking movie, man.
I can't tell.
Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's the thing about Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead was written by this dude named Dan O'Bannon. Dan O'Bannon is significant because he, back in the day, wrote this little movie called Night of the Living Dead. And he wrote that alongside George Romero, who gets all the credit. Now, when they finished doing Night of the Living Dead, and they split off from doing movies together or whatever, the deal was that O'Bannon got to keep the rights to making a zombie movie with Living Dead in the title.
Okay.
Thus, the Romero movies became the Of the Dead movies, and he made the Living Dead movies. So, Return of the Living Dead is a direct sequel to Night of the Living Dead, and they actually reference the movie a couple of times in this movie. But I bring all that up to say that, like, this movie has a heritage in terms of being a zombie movie that gave it, like, a lot of credit right off the rip.
Yeah.
And more than that, like, today zombie movies get a real bad rap for being really redundant and repetitive and same shit over and over. We've seen a billion zombie movies. Nobody cares. Well, some people care. I care. I like zombie movies. I like zombie games, even though I like World War II games. Like, these are things that are considered to be really trite, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
One of the things that really makes a zombie movie is that behind the guise of, like, oh, there's these undead that have come back and they try and eat people or whatever, is there's a lot of socio-political commentary in the movie, typically.
Yeah.
Certainly the Romero flicks have that in spades. They're always trying to make some kind of commentary on the situation in the world and shit like that. This movie's really no different. This movie talks a lot about being a teenager in the 80s and punk rock and, you know, shit like that. And more than that, I think this movie is funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is a pretty good horror flick, especially for being a mid-80s flick. And it's super culturally relevant because this is the movie that gave us the whole zombies eat brains thing.
Yeah.
That was invented in this movie. And so I feel like even if you don't like this movie somehow, you got to give this movie credit for what it did do.
Oh, definitely.
Now, all that being said, I do really love this movie. I find it to be fucking hilarious, and I think that it's a great example of zombie flicks. I think it is always a toss-up for me between this movie and Dawn of the Dead for the best zombie movie ever made.
Oh, really?
And I kind of go back and forth on that, but given that I just watched this one, I'm going to go with this one today. But that's my long diatribe intro into this movie. John, as always, what do you think about this movie?
I absolutely loved it. 'Cause it already started off as, like, not taking itself too seriously, and, like, probably one of the better beginnings of a horror movie that I've seen.
Dude, that first scene is so good.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. It's like, okay, it's starting off slow. Like, they're just talking like dudes taking them around. And then, like, I don't know, it's like, oh yeah, it's built by the military. Slap. And then it just starts and you hear the creepy music. And I was like, dude, that was a great opening sequence. And then it just goes from 0 to 100.
My favorite thing in this whole movie, I forgot that this was a thing, but at the very beginning, it says, like, fuck, what is that opening title card? Return of the Living Dead opening title.
Oh, that this is real and that all the
Yeah,
names.
everything in this movie is real. It's all real people, real names. Like, not trying to fuck it. Like, it's just a total subversion of your expectations right at the very beginning.
Yep, right at the gate.
Like, I was just like, everything is real people, real names, real businesses. Okay, got it. Copy that.
Exactly, dude. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. And then like after that first sequence, I was like, yes, I love it. And like, what was his name? Frank is the manager, but Freddy is the guy that's showing. No, Freddy is the new guy. Frank is the
Ernie?
man. Ernie is the mortician.
Oh yeah, Ernie is the mortician. Fred, yeah, you're right. Frank and Freddy, you're right. You got it.
Then who's the guy that's showing Freddy the ropes?
No, it's Frank.
Oh, it is Frank.
Yeah.
Bert is the
Bert's
actual
the owner. Who leaves.
Yeah. I was like, there's a lot of F's.
Yeah, there kind of is.
Yeah, but dude, that like Frank is probably like one of my favorite characters, like from Jump. And I was like, oh yeah.
Frank is fucking awesome.
He's hilarious.
I fucking love how he's just like, when he's first telling him this story, you obviously get the impression that he's just trying to fuck with them, right?
Yeah,
like that's the whole vibe.
This is just like, oh, he's just making this shit up. Like, there's no way, blah, blah. I was like, how do you know all this? And then it's like, here's the proof. And I was like, oh, shit.
And even Freddy's just like, come on. Like, how did you get them? Typical army fuck up.
Yeah, right.
Okay, typical army fuck up. And then we go downstairs like, made by the U.S. military, high quality. I'm like, what
slaps it with his hand like a used car salesman slaps the hood of the car. This baby. And I was like,
right. Just fucking everywhere.
Just freaking explodes. And my whole thing about this is just like, he said that they've had that for, what was it, 15 years?
Something like that.
And I'm just like, you never once try to return this to the army. You just have it sitting there for 15 years.
Sitting in the fucking basement.
And you know it belongs to the army. And like with this whole backstory that you figured out, you didn't think, maybe I should get this the fuck out of my place of work? No.
Right?
Never crossed his mind. It's just a cool story. And I got the proof down there.
My best guess is that he thought it was a fucking joke too. Like, they were there, but he's like, "There's no fucking way they're reanimated or whatever." But sure enough,
and I will say the practical effects in this movie are a choice, especially for the year that it was made in.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. Like the animated zombies, corpses, like Tar Man, like. Because I've watched this movie like a long time ago. Like I remember snippets of it, but like watching it full through now, it's really good. Like it had a lot of good moments that you realize that all other zombie movies are picking from this movie as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. This movie might at this point be the most underrated zombie movie.
Really?
Just because like nobody fucking knows about this movie, it feels like.
No.
Like, you're either into zombie movies and you know about this movie, or like you just don't.
I think it's more of people can't name the movie, but they can remember bits and pieces from it. Like there's so many memorable moments that have been played out in different movies and other movies, and like if you've seen this movie one time, you can call at least 1 to 2 scenes that are going to stick in your head. Like I remember the Tar Man's face. I remember that, like the whole melting scenario. I remember Trash, by the way, the worst name that you could give a female character, but you know, it's fine. Trash dancing in the cemetery, that's been like actually done to death in a lot of other different horror movies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like
just her archetype. And then the whole, like all of the arms and stuff, like smashing through the window and someone gets caught and dragged through. That was pretty messed up. The fact that he got dragged out by basically a skeletal framed zombie that like barely had any skin on it. But that scene where they like tied it down and were asking it questions about why it eats brains, powerful stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, like, because Trash gets taken out right before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what the fuck? Because it looks like the same character. So it's like the same hairdo and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck happened to her in the last 5 minutes that she looks decayed as shit all of a sudden?
That
also, and they ate everything except for the upper torso? Like, what the fuck happened?
dude, she was walking and just fine. Like, what did they eat?
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. I mean, like, first of all, that bitch really loves to be naked.
Really loves to be naked. It was just like, I feel like when she got hired on to do this movie, it's like, I need to be naked for all of this movie. Or at least 75% of it, or I'm not doing it.
I mean, you mean like topless, right? No,
No,
full on naked.
Full naked. They need to see everything.
I mean, can we at least put something so like you're not? Nope, 100% naked. Drive a hard bargain.
Actually, I don't like my thighs and my calves, so I will wear leggings, and that's about it.
Oh, yeah. I want to look like I just got butt naked in a jazzercise video.
Yep.
Is that doable?
Totally doable. We got you. Oh, man. And then, like, the one thing I did like about this movie as well is, like, the hopelessness of their scenario, which you don't see that often in, like, horror movies.
They were, like, completely fucked from jump.
Yeah, and it's like and it was, like, early on that you noticed, like, oh, it's done deal. It's like when he did the pickaxe through its skull and it was still moving, I was like, oh, yeah, there ain't no way for y'all to win this one.
We got a big fucking problem. But at least at that point, it was only one zombie. They're like, all right, that's fine.
It's fine.
Probably gonna. We hadn't even seen Tarman at that point.
Yeah.
So like we're like, oh, okay, so it's just one zombie. Can't be killed, but yeah, fuck it, whatever.
It's fine.
We're gonna take him over there. We're gonna cremate him. Great plan. Love it. This is gonna work perfectly.
And you want to know the worst part about it is, like, other than the fact that they didn't call the cops immediately or the army number that was plastered, like it literally said, in case of emergency, call this number. Nah, I don't want to deal with the army. Which that's it. That's an inherent.
That might be kind of fair.
Yeah, that's basically how like anybody who owns a business after they do a fuck up like this, they'll act. But other than that, they did everything reasonably right. Like the only thing that they could have done better would probably be to the whole sulfuric acid idea, which would have been a better idea, and they probably wouldn't have had that whole scenario cascading into the apocalypse.
Yeah. But I do love how, like, once he finally does call that number, they have a perfect fucking protocol in place, too. Just like, what's that? You're calling about what? And your name is what? Okay, hold on 1 second. What's up? Calling what? Calling about what? Hold on 1 second. What? And you're calling about what? Okay. Uh-huh. And then what happened? Really? And then what happened? Really? And what'd you do then? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Really? And what did it do then? You don't say. I'm like, fuck, guy, what the fuck is this? It's not 20 questions, Barbara Walters. Like, I need help. I don't want to tell you my life fucking story. Like, I need you to do something about this. And my guy, the soulless fuck that he is, just like, no worries. I got your back, my guy. I'm just going to transfer you back. You tell him your story, and I'm going to work on fixing your problem. My man goes over and he picks up the phone and fucking launches a tactical strike on the town. Just fucking no remorse. Calls up this fucking nobody in this stationary fucking battle gun or whatever. and just launches a fucking explosive directly into the middle of the and then has the fucking audacity to call the general or whatever. I'm like, nearly perfect hit, sir. Couldn't ask for anything better than to kill I think he says it's like 4,000 civilians died. I'm like, you couldn't have asked for anything better than killing 4,000 innocent people? Like, that was your best option? Okay. All right, that's fine.
I mean, at that point, it was kind of... They didn't have a choice, dude. It's like... It was like the whole AVP Requiem scenario. Like, that was the best way to handle it.
Oh, the best Alien movie?
No, not the best Alien movie, and you know that. I want to kick you in the nuts for saying that. Like, I want to fly to Florida and swift kick you right in the balls.
Nah, that fucking movie's terrible.
But no, dude, like that was the only logical scenario to handle that shit.
The worst part though is he's like near perfect strike. And then later we see the zombies coming up out of the grave. So like, you didn't even hit the graveyard? The fuck happened? What do you mean near perfect strike? Near perfect strike. I mean, we missed entirely, but otherwise it's nearly perfect.
I mean, given the I would say like the percent of error that from using such a weapon, maybe. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and my problem with that is like the rain, like him saying the rain will wash everything away. Like when the crematorium smoke went up, I feel like the rain should have dissipated that smoke and it shouldn't have been so bad unless it like immediately made a cloud and then the rain like went down from there.
I mean, my interpretation of that is like the smoke that went into the atmosphere condensed the water and the air into clouds, and so it just like, rained
it
down.
Was a humid day, yeah, but for it to do it that rapidly, it's kind of sus. But I mean, it is a horror movie, it's fantasy, whatever, but still, like, it just
also
sucks.
is a military weapon, apparently.
It just sucks that they basically acted in the best way possible, other than like using sulfuric acid to melt the body.
Yeah,
it would just like the fact that the crematorium smoke.
But here's the thing that really fucks you up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's a militarized like chemical weapon or whatever. So like you imagine that like they unleash one of these fucking things on an enemy of the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we can't fucking kill this thing. I got it. We're just gonna burn this motherfucker. So they engineer this shit that when it goes into the atmosphere, it condenses into clouds and then just pours all over the place, causing more and more problems. It's a perfect weapon, really, when you think about it.
It's a perfect weapon if you want to just totally annihilate the whole human race. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you gotta have contingency plans for annihilating everybody.
It's like
we all have enough nukes to burn the whole planet to the ground anyway.
Yeah, the only reason to use it is because of mutually assured destruction. So
exactly. I mean, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you would have a weapon like that.
Yeah.
It's a little absurd, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Exactly. Why does Trash in zombie form look like old girl from Titanic after 80 years?
What?
Trash in zombie form.
What do you mean? She doesn't look like... Oh. I mean, I certainly wouldn't describe that as, like, looking like, what's her name from Titanic, but...
You know what I mean. Like, got the giblet neck, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I kind of understand where you're coming from, but
yeah,
I don't know about that.
Dude, and she's got... And it's like, her skin is perfection. And it's just pale. And it's like, did they bite you anywhere? Did they, like, just, like, nibble on your scalp and was like, that's good. I'm good.
Totally fine.
Like, the best brains portions per zombie, like, oh, You just take a nibble of these brains and you're full for weeks.
It's almost like they were like, you know what? We just want you as one of us. We're not going to fucking eat your brain.
And that's another thing. Like, I will say, like, one flaw of this movie is the fact, like, we see a lot of people get bit and only one turn into a zombie.
I mean, they are eating these people's brains, to be fair.
Correct. And, like, but, what's the Mexican punker's name who had the switchblade? He got bit, but his brains didn't get eaten. And he still didn't turn into a zombie. Maybe there wasn't enough time to pass by, but I feel like Trash's metamorphosis wasn't that long.
I mean, let's be honest. The only reason that Trash is featured in this movie so much is that she's butt-ass naked. They just wanted to have a fucking butt-ass naked chick in this movie.
Yeah. I like how when it started raining, she was complaining the fact that she didn't have no clothes on. I was like,
yeah.
It's like, you put yourself in this situation, kind madam. You got to deal with it. And she's stealing other people's clothes. Let me have that. I was like, bro, you wanted to get naked. You have to deal with it. You ain't taking my clothes.
She kind of does, though. But then she like just ends up naked anyway. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
I do like though that she has that whole sequence where she's like, I just don't want a bunch of old dudes on top of me biting me. And sure enough,
that was very specific.
I know. That's the best part, dude. Like, you watch
super specific.
When you watch this movie for the first time, you're like, wait, what? It's like, what kind of weirdly specific nightmares do you have?
Scenarios, like you get like trapped and chained in a room, and there's a bunch of old geriatric billionaires waiting to eat you because this is the only way they can get their cannibalism kink off. This is like, did you hear about this in the grapevine? And it's like, man, that would be a terrible way to die.
Right? Like, but then again, turns out it was a totally legitimate fear. We just didn't know it.
Exactly. Freaking zombies.
Dude, I'm just like, I'm looking at pictures of Tarman. This is like the greatest zombie design I've ever seen.
That's one of the horror movie designs that I will agree, like, gave me nightmares when I first watched the movie. I feel like I watched it like a long time ago. And that scene, like, it's vivid because when they his face started melting away and his eyelids were gone and you just saw eyes, I was just like, I remember that.
I mean, like, how can you forget? This is just...
And then, like, him moving around, like, it looked great.
I also love how he's not... I mean, not even just him, but, like, the zombies in this movie, they're not stupid.
Yeah.
They're actually extraordinarily intelligent.
High-functioning zombies, which is probably the worst kind of zombies. Like, when old boy hopped on the radio, it's like, yes, this is dispatch. Bring more paramedics. I was like, Meals on Wheels?
I love that they just do it, too. Like, who the fuck is just going to, send more paramedics? Okay. They want more paramedics. What the fuck do you mean more paramedics? Why?
Those second set of paramedics got fucking bodied, dude. That was so bad.
Y'all got played.
Dude, and like, there was waiting in the brush. It's like, oh, no, Jerry, not yet. We want to get the second one. Oh, I want it.
Wait, then he's going to say, get that bitch.
And the second one almost makes the truck. He just gets bull tackled. It's like, you ain't going nowhere.
Dude, my favorite one in the whole movie, though, is the one, like, with no legs that's still running on its nub.
Oh, my God. How did they do that? Did they get an amputee to do that? That was nuts.
I don't think... I want to say that it's a little person, but I don't know.
That was insane. Like, it was like... I was like, fuck that!
Legless zombie return of the... Clickety-clack on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know. Can't find it.
Can't find it. Can't find
Which
a
is
reference?
surprising. Like, you would think that that's one of those things that they would.
It's like we need to figure out how this was done.
Little zombie? Let me try Return of the Living Dead full credits. Full cast and crew, baby. Let's go. So, let me ask you this while I'm looking this up. Why don't you take a wild stab? And, oh, wait, I think I have it. Hold on. Spider, no. Radio Corps, Right Cop, Dispatcher, Tarman, Headless Tarman, Legless Corpse, Jerome Coleman. Jerome Coleman.
Is that the name of the
Legless Corpse? I cannot find anything about this dude. So.
I mean, it's pretty far into the past, and
maybe no-legged zombie.
No-legged zombie.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Neither one of these dudes have an image on IMDb, so I have no idea.
That sucks. I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole and try and figure it out later on, but
anyway, what I was gonna say is I want you to take a stab and guess what this movie has on Rotten Tomatoes.
I already have it on the Spook generator. If I remember correctly, it was 84 from the critics and 73 from the audience.
So I'm gonna take a look. Oh, yep, Spook generator is right, but you're not. It is 79 for the audience, 91 from the critics.
91 from the critics. Okay.
Which on Rotten Tomatoes, that means this movie's basically perfect.
Basically, and like I can agree with that. Like, it was short enough. It was actually the perfect length of a movie, and they paced it really well. And they gave you a lot of like good horror movie moments, but it was satirical.
Yes.
Like, it was still funny and still scary at the same time, and it was just a fun ride to watch. Like, fucking zombie getting on the comm to get Meals on Wheels, and then
send more cops. Who the fuck would say, like, why would a cop go on there and be like, send more cops? It's not gonna say that. What the fuck is that?
I mean, if you're in the shit, I mean, you might not have time to use the proper code.
Then again, if that's not a cop, you might become very concerned why there's some random motherfucker
on the radio. Send more cops.
Yeah. Like, wait, Mike? What the fuck happened to Mike?
You fucking with me?
So who knows?
They need a code word for when they're like actually in trouble. But I'm pretty sure they have that kind of protocol in
yeah,
mind.
I would imagine that they do.
Yeah, but like it's still pretty funny and messed up at the same time. And then the fact like there's a barricade by the police, and then the horde of zombies just mold those motherfuckers down. It's like bullets don't stop them. The only thing that can kind of stop them is you knock off their head. Like, yeah, their body still moves, but they can't bite you. But still, that is a huge obstacle to get around, especially when there's hundreds of them.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Are these the most dangerous zombies that we've ever seen?
Yes.
I mean, like, certainly they got to be in, like, the top 5 or something.
No, to my knowledge, these are probably the most dangerous versions of zombies in any horror movie.
Because, I mean, like, they're hyper... like, I'm looking at a list right now. This list is definitely wrong.
It's super wrong.
It's top 10, and they're not even on here, but they have the fucking Dark Seekers from I Am Legend. Like, nah, dude.
Hell
Get the fuck
no.
out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face.
The Dark Seekers from I Am Legend, they kind of started putting together traps for Will Smith. But, like, that was, like,
first of all, those are more like vampires than zombies. Like,
true.
First of all.
And even then, like they only put like they saw like one, maybe two traps for Will Smith, and it's like one person that they had to deal with. It's like these dudes were calling in like extra rations and snacks. They were getting seconds, thirds at grandma's barbecue. Like it was, and I think their only handicap was the fact that they were rotting. That's about it. But other than that, like they had the same strength as humans. They still kept their mental faculties. Like when you saw Freddy, he turned into one, and he was saying "I love you" to Trina. Um, yeah, they're probably the most dangerous zombies. Period. And the fact that you like destroying their cerebral cortex doesn't stop them. It doesn't even stop their body. Even if you knock off their head, like their body still moves. Like you just don't have to worry about getting bit. But still, that means the only choice of action is to have some sort of machinery that mulches them or incinerates them or melts them, which inherently is dangerous to you as well. So,
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say.
no, it's
there's
not.
I so I don't know, man. Just because like a lot of zombie movies, we don't see the spread of infection from um, from the point zero like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thrown into the shit like World War Z, for example, which frankly is a pretty terrible zombie movie. Um, it's certainly the worst adaptation of source material into a movie, probably.
Yeah.
Period. Much less a zombie movie. But like at the point where we enter that movie, they're unbelievably dangerous, but only because there's so fucking many of them and they all work together in a giant horde and shit.
Yeah.
So, are they incredibly dangerous in smaller numbers? I don't know. We don't really see that.
But even then, like if you think about it, these zombies are dangerous in smaller numbers because they're already going to be able to work together to get brains. Like they all have a collective thirst for brains. That's it. That's their only drive, and they're all going to be working together to get those brains. They're not fighting each other for brains. They just want brains. That's it. And they're all like high functioning zombies. So, like the fact that they set traps, like usually when you have a horde of zombies, you see like zombies just skulking around waiting for brains to come by. These dudes were hiding in the brushes, made sure nobody was visible, and it's like, okay, he's past the point of return. Get him! Get him! Like when who went out there? It was Ernie. Ernie went out there. All the zombies were gone except for the one who was munching on brains.
Yeah.
All the other zombies were like, wait for another one to come to the truck. It's gonna be good. Like, think about that. Like, if I was in that predicament and like I had this vast knowledge of zombies, the last thing I would think about is a high functioning zombie setting a trap for me. That is the last thing I would think about. Of all the versions of zombies that I have watched, seen, or heard of, these are the most dangerous just because they're high functioning. Like 28 days later, zombies, I guess, like they're super fast and like really sporadic and very like rage, like berserker zombies. That's fine. That means they're stupid and they're gonna follow like a set path that I could set for them. Like I can set traps for them easily. But if I'm dealing with a zombie that can think for itself, that's probably the scariest thing that I can ever fucking think of. Like zombies coming out ding dong ditching and shit, waiting for me to open the door and yell, "Who's this motherfucker?" and then eating my brains. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. Because I'm not going to think about that. Think about it. Like, dude, you're going to be holed up in your house and he's like knocking the door. And like, you have a zombie like pleading for help. Oh my God. Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying. You open the door. I'm actually already dead. Bites your fucking brain. Like, you know what I mean? Zombies that can set traps is the most horrific thing I can think of.
I mean, I will say that they're not the only like intelligent zombies I've ever seen, though.
What's another zombie horde that you've seen that's on this level of intelligence? Oh, have you watched Army of the Dead?
No, I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't seen it
You
yet.
should. They're close, but they're still not. There's rankings of zombies, but that means only a select few are that intelligent. But again, this whole horde is that intelligent, or at least have varying levels of intelligence that, when working together, is scary as shit.
So there's this movie called Dead Snow,
Okay,
and it features Nazi zombies
got it. Love it already.
that are intelligent enough to use weapons,
All right.
maintain their ranks like from when they were Nazis. So they have like leaders and they follow commands and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So debatably, they're even more intelligent than these ones. Although I don't believe that we see them set traps, it certainly wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. So, like, that's the one that comes to mind
Mm-hmm.
when I think of like intelligent zombies. But then also, like, there's something like Planet Terror, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to be fair, those are debatably zombies, but the infection from those things is so unbelievably transmittable that makes them horrifically dangerous.
Yeah.
So that's just what I mean. Like, I think there's more to it than that, but I understand what you mean. Like, they might be.
That's what I mean. But if you think about it, like, just like, I'm gonna beat this dead horse, but add if you take any of those zombies that you just mentioned and like confirm that they can set traps, they immediately go from whatever level they're at plus 10. You know what I mean?
Sure. And I mean, like I said, there's certainly no reason that the ones from Dead Snow couldn't set traps. I don't think. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. Maybe they
Mhm.
do. I don't think they do, but they certainly could.
Yeah. I think the only thing that is a handicap to those zombies is one, that they're rotted, and two, like, their thirst for brains is so all encompassing that they wouldn't do like what hunters do in like other movies that we've seen, where they would like wound one of them and like make them call out to get more to come out. It's like, nah, we need to eat these brains now. Like, they fresh. Like, we we can't wait. Like, I think that's the only thing. But again, there's still a horrific scenario.
Actually, now that I think about it, the zombies in Dead Snow, they fucking torture people too. So not only could they set traps, they definitely could. And they're gonna fucking torture you before they
So
do anything else.
that would take the cake for me. Yeah,
That's
they would get
really
the top
fucked
spot.
up.
They would definitely get the top spot.
But anyway,
Like,
is,
keeping me alive while letting me know about your credo about how white zombies are better than black zombies and shit, and like keeping me alive with only like my stump of a mid torso,
trying to fucking resurrect zombie Hitler and shit.
using my spinal fluid as a nice fine wine.
Oh my god! Speaking of spinal fluid, the fucking chick that's cut
Oh
half of her little spine,
twitching around. I was like,
and the
oh,
fucking liquid like pulsing out of it and shit. Just like,
that was done really well. Like, getting a little in depth look into why zombies want brains so much is like, it's the only thing that makes us forget that we're dead, or like makes it bearable. And I was like,
takes
yeah,
away the pain. Yeah.
if I was in that kind of situation, hell yeah, I'd be eating some niggas' brains and shit.
It's like, eating brains gonna make this go away. Let's go.
Yeah, I think, is it the movie after this? Because I thought it was in this movie, because I remember there was a zombie movie where this one dude convinced his girlfriend to let him eat her brains, and it showed him like biting into her brains, like slowly, and like the blood gushing out.
I think that's Return of the Living Dead too.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Fuck. Now you got me stuck on that because I know what you're talking about.
Right?
I
They're
think
like sitting in a
that's-
church or something, right? And he or she has one of those puffy sleeveless jackets.
Fuck. What movie is that? Is that the sequel? That could be the third one. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I will say that they saw what they can work with the fact that he was still had high cognitive function, so he was like basically pleading with Trina to let him eat her brains. And then whatever subsequent film that they did that in, they took it to the next level. It's like he's just sitting there calmly. It's like, do you know the pain that I'm living through? It's like, if you could just let me eat your brains, it would make me feel better. You love me, right? Like a zombie convincing someone to let them eat their brain and them agreeing to it.
Yeah, that's real fucked up, man.
Yeah, dude. That's some psychological shit right there.
John, there's only one thing to do, man.
What's that?
We gotta rate this bitch. What do you give
Ooh.
Return of the Living Dead?
Fuck. Man. I'm going to give this one 9 half-sliced alive dogs out of 10.
Ooh, I love that. The practical effects can't
Dude.
get enough praise. In this
Oh
movie.
my god.
So good.
That shit is probably
Dude,
like the
when
worst
he's
thing you could come in. He's like, kill. What are we going to do with it? We kill it. We kill it. We kill it. And I was like, oh my god. But dude, when I saw that thing like on the floor, I was like, no. And like, if you notice, like the butterflies' wings were like all the insects that were on display,
Yeah.
they were flapping. Oh,
Oh
also
my
a little
God.
side note, I noticed they had a lot of naked women posted up around the office. Like,
Yes.
that is not HR friendly. I'm going to say that right now.
Well, in 1986, they just didn't give a shit, man.
You're right. You're right.
I think there's only really one appropriate thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give this movie 31 brains out of 10. One for every day of Spooktober. Now,
Jeez.
John.
Yep.
What movie are we watching next week on Spooktober?
All right, let me fire up the spook generator. One second.
Extra spook. I need you to fire that up with all the spook you can muster.
All the spook I can muster. That's a lot of spook.
All the spook. Extra spook. Spook on top of
got
spook.
Got it.
Spook.
And spook generator. Oh.
Tell me something good.
All right, let me see if you can guess it from the synopsis.
Okay.
Quick summary is: a young couple is trapped in a remote town where a dangerous religious cult of children believe that everyone over the age of 18 must be killed.
Children of the Corn!
That is right. Children of the Corn, release year 1984.
Dude, when you started reading that, it was like, that could be fucking anything. And then you said a religious cult of children. I was like, oh my God. I'm so happy. I haven't seen Children of the Corn in fucking years. How the fuck can you even watch Children of the Corn?
Better figure it out. Honestly, this is the perfect time because I feel like a lot of people buy up the horror IPs of a lot of different franchises just for October. So we might be in luck. If not, I can just put it on Plex.
It's on Prime.
Okay.
Along with Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice.
We both know
Before
it
Children of the Corn 3,
Right?
Urban Harvest.
It was not The Final Sacrifice.
It was so far from The Final Sacrifice. Like, how many Children of the Corn? How many Children of the Corn movies are there? It's like 37. Oh! There's 11.
God, that's way too many. Like, I feel like there's been way too many disappearances in a town, and like it's like, okay, there's no one over 18 over this bitch. Like, we're just gonna murder these children and bounce.
Wow. I remember Children of the Corn being pretty good, but this 33%.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yep.
We might be in for the shit this week.
I mean, did they reboot Children of the Corn, or they just kept going from the beginning? Like if they haven't,
hold on. Wait a second.
Oh yeah, Children of the Corn 2020.
Wait. The film was later revealed to be a prequel to the original. So you made a prequel to a movie and called it the same thing? What the fuck is that?
Oh, dude, did you see its box office? Look at its box office.
For the prequel?
Yeah, the 2021.
Wait, that can't be right.
Totally right.
They released it in one theater? $1,000. You know what? Fuck it. Who cares? John, until next week when we watch what might be great, might be terrible.
We'll see. All I'm saying is probably after watching this movie, I'm going to sleep with one eye open. I have 3 children in my house, so.
Just don't let them watch it. They might get some fucking ideas.
It's like, I want a scythe for Christmas. Why do you want... Oh.
Especially the little one.
Oh, God. She sleeps right next to me.
Don't let her see Chucky. Don't let her see Children of the Corn. None of that shit. Start cutting Achilles tendons and shit. Before you know it.
Oh, my God. That's probably one of my biggest fears is, like, getting your Achilles tendon cut and, like, you just have to, like, drag your way away while they're slowly just coming up after you. It's like, you can't run no more, bitch. I was like, mama.
I feel like there's a movie. I want to say it's a Chucky movie, but maybe not. Actually, it might be the newest, like, reboot Chucky movie where he, like, cuts somebody's Achilles tendon and they try and walk away and you just see the shit coming apart.
I know what scene you're talking about. And it is an earlier Chucky movie, but they might have used it in the new one. I actually haven't seen the new one, although I've been meaning to. Like, there's a new Chucky movie, and then there's also now a Chucky series.
The new Chucky movie wasn't good. I don't know why they would greenlit a series. But this isn't about Chucky, and it will not be next week either. But until then, spook, 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 spook.